Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. So, I'm going to take just a second to share this out, and then I'm going to introduce myself for those who do not know. And we're going to start talking about what we need to talk about. So, let me turn some light on so your girl can see. All right, good morning, everybody. All right, so let me make sure I'm going to share this out really uber quick and make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be, doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And then we're going to get started. Get started. I'm very excited. Like, this is one of my favorite books, and I'm very excited to have this discussion. All right, so it looks like doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing where I'm supposed to be doing them at. Yes. All right, so I'm going to share this over to my page really quick. And then we're going to be off on the discussion. All right, so for those of you who have never seen me before, hey y'all, hey, my name is Nisha, and I have a exciting business and an even more amazing, exciting team that I work with. And last month, I did a challenge that was given to me. And so during the challenge, it was to reach out, to connect, and do something daily for the entire month of August with my team. And so I chose to do something that I used to do years ago, which is called Tea Time. And it was an open discussion just about various things. Well, I ended up discussing the I Declare book by Joel Osteen, and it was great. We had a great time discussing it. I opened it up to my entire platform. And hey, good morning, ladies. I opened it up to my entire platform, and people loved it. And so while I wanted to keep Tea Time going, we're switching it up a little bit. Thank you so much for sharing. We're switching it up a little bit. And so we're doing a new book this month. I wanted to keep it going. So this was one of the books that I discussed during I Declare. And so how this is going to work is this. The chapters are very small. I'm going to be reading portions of the chapter, if not the whole thing. Sometimes it's only like 2 pages. And just discussing a little bit. This book is definitely for people who have dreams, big dreams, who want to be inspired, who want to be encouraged, who are on the verge of something great, and they don't feel like maybe they're getting the support. This is for you. So this is definitely something that you want to tag your friends in, tag your family in, somebody who maybe is starting a new journey in life, in business, in education, all of those things that may need some words of encouragement. This is a scripture-based book, so if that's not what you into, this may not be the conversation for you. I'm okay with that. But just to put it out there, it is a scripture-based book, so you may hear me have discussions about God or religion or scriptures and different things like that. And like I said, if that is not your thing, this might not be the discussion for you, and we're gonna be okay with that. But I just want to put it all out there up front. Hey, Cindy. So this is the book that we are going to be discussing for the next couple of weeks. It is a relatively small book. It is actually broken up into a parable and then just a conversation with the author giving you notes and stuff. We are going to be discussing the parable. So if you are interested in getting the book, they do sell it on like Amazon or something like that. I've had this for a few years. This will, reading with you all will probably be like the fifth time that I've read this. Every single time that I read it, I get something new. But I'm at a new stage of life. I'm at a new part of my journey in life. I'm doing something new. So it gives me something different. So it's not very expensive if it's something that you want to get. I get no kickback or anything like that from it. I just believe that it was a great book, and I'm so glad that it was introduced to me. The full name is The Dream Giver: Following Your God-Given Destiny. Um, and it's by Bruce Wilkinson. All right. So let's jump in. At any point that you have any questions, I want to have the declarations were a little bit more poignant and straight to the point. This, if you have questions, I want to make this interactive. So make sure that you jump in with some with questions if you have them. All right. So here we go. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. All right. So The Dream Giver. Here we go. So this is a part of the preface. I'm just going to read a little bit of this, and then we are going to jump into the book. So it starts off like this, the preface. Do you believe every person on earth was born with a dream for his or her life? No matter where I travel in the world, whether among hard charging Manhattanites or villagers in Southern Africa, I have yet to find a person who didn't have a dream. They may not be able to describe it, they may have forgotten it, they may no longer believe in it, but it's there. I call this universal and powerful longing a big dream. Like the generic code that describes your unique passions and abilities, your big dream has been woven into your being from birth. You're the only person with a dream quite like yours. First of all, I think that is absolutely amazing. And I believe that to be true. I believe that every single person on the face of the earth was given a dream of some sort. And if it wasn't true, I don't think that we innately wouldn't love the underdog. When we watch movies and different things like that, we are always rooting for the person who's moving and who's passionate, because I feel like that speaks to every person, right? We all have something that is pulling on our heartstrings. And like he said, some of us may have forgotten it, some of us may just not want to do it, deal with it, whatever the case may be. Some of us may be afraid, but it's there. It's there. If you agree, go ahead and type I agree in the comments. Okay, so the guy in this book is called Ordinary. His name is Ordinary, and he is the topic of the parable. So here we go. This is Ordinary's story. The chapter is called Ordinary Embraces His Big Dream. Not long ago and not far away, a nobody named Ordinary lived in the land of familiar. Every day was pretty much the same for Ordinary. In the mornings, he got up and went to his usual job. After work, he ate almost the same dinner he'd eaten every night. Then he sat in his recliner and watched the box that mesmerized most nobodies on most nights. Sometimes best friend came over to join Ordinary in front of the box. Sometimes Ordinary went to his parents and they watched together. For the most part, not much happened in familiar that hadn't happened before. Ordinary thought he was content. He found the routine reliable. He blended in with the crowd. And mostly, he wanted only what he had had. Until the day Ordinary noticed a small, nagging feeling that something big was missing from his life. Or maybe the feeling was that he was missing from something big, but he wasn't sure. The little feeling grew, and even though nobody's in familiar didn't generally expect the unexpected, Ordinary began to wish for it. Have you ever just had something tugging in you? Have you ever just felt like, I know that there's something more? There's something out there that I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I can't put my name, I can't put a name to it, but I know that there's something either I'm supposed to be doing or that I'm supposed to be. That is where Ordinary is right now. And I personally remember when I made the decision to leave school and I wanted to become an entrepreneur. This was lots and lots and lots of years ago. But I remember just feeling unfulfilled and like, there's got to be something out there. There's something different, you know, than doing this routine every day. And I even noticed, just ironically, looking down at my resume, going into jobs and different things like that, that every single year at the same time of the year, I would get bored and I would find another job, right? And I was doing no growth, but it was because something was out there. And a lot of times we ignore it because we got life and we got bills and we got stuff and things. And, you know, it just kept nagging and nagging and nagging and nagging. And I feel like that's the space that he's in. So if you've ever been in that space, please comment, it's me. I feel like so many people are in that space. So many of us have been in that moment, that space, and we don't do anything about it. We just keep going. We keep, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting that they start with him there. Miss Cindy said, it's me. It's me. It's so interesting that they start with his story there. Good morning, everybody. So, time passed. Then one morning, Ordinary woke up with these words echoing in his mind. What you're missing, you already have. Wow. What you're missing, you already have. Could it be? Ordinary looked and looked, and then he discovered that in a small corner of his heart lay a big dream. The big dream told him that he, a nobody, was made to be a somebody and destined to achieve great things. Jumping out of bed, Ordinary discovered something, a long white feather resting on the steel of his window. Where did it come from? What did it mean? With a jolt of excitement, Ordinary decided he'd been visited by the dream giver. Okay, so imagine waking up and all you're hearing in your mind is you already have everything that you need, right? You are already every single thing, right? Everything that you've been missing, you already possess. And I think so many of us ignore that. So many of us bury it deep because it's scary, right? It's scary to do something different. And I love the fact that this parable calls him ordinary because it's ordinary people who do extraordinary things, right? And they make the decision that I'm going to be extraordinary. I don't want to jump ahead of the book, but um, we make the decisions, but it's ordinary, everyday people who make these decisions that they don't want to blend in anymore. They want to live out loud. They want to what? Follow their dream. And so he finds this feather and he's excited. He's nervous. I mean, in this moment, I'm saying for me, and I'm sure it's like that even for him, just reading in this moment, there's excitement, there's fear, there's confusion, there's questions, there's all types of things. So just imagine yourself in that moment. Or if you've had that experience, you may know exactly the feeling um, of realizing there's something in there. And it's trying to have a conversation with you, right? It's trying to tell you something. So he finds the feather and he's questioning, where did it come from? So Ordinary decided he had been visited by the dream giver. Now Ordinary had heard rumors of various nobodies in familiar waking up to a big dream, but he had never imagined that it could be him. Aren't we like that? It's always, I can't remember how many conversations I've had with people, and I introduce them to my business, and they will say, well, you can do it because that's you, right? We always assume that the person doing it, they have something else, or that blessing, that gifting, that whatever is not for me. you know um Everybody has something, right? And it's ironic that he says that. I had heard this, that people get that people have this, but I didn't think that it could be me, right? I didn't think that it could be me. We always think that it could be somebody else, but it probably can't be me. It wouldn't be me. Those are the types of things and thoughts that he's having. So he had heard the rumors of various nobodies and familiar waking up to a big dream, but he never imagined that it could happen to him. He rushed to get dressed, his big dream beating brightly in his chest. He couldn't wait to get to his usual job and tell best friend the news. But on his way to work, Ordinary realized he had a problem. His big dream was too big for an ordinary like him. He would be embarrassed to tell anyone. Even best friend would laugh. Still, Ordinary was too excited to keep his dream to himself. As soon as he saw best friend, he blurted out the news. The dream giver gave me a big dream. I was made to be a somebody and destined to achieve great things. Best friend looked surprised, but he didn't laugh. That's very big, he said. But if I were you, I wouldn't talk about this big dream of yours too much. Nobody's around here might take you for a fool. Ordinary didn't want to look like a fool. So after that, he kept his big dream to himself. How many times do we do that? How many times do we talk ourselves out of our own movement, progression, out of our own dreams, out of our own all of the things, um, by thinking that people are going to laugh? People are not going to understand it. People are not going to receive it. How many times do we do that? And we decide to bury it, or we decide not to talk about it, um, because we don't want people to make fun of what it is that we do or what we're thinking. I'm going to skip ahead just a bit, but that's such a big part of the reason why so many people don't live out loud in their dreams, is because they fear what other people are going to think or say, or how they're going to respond to their dream. One of the most impactful things that I have heard, um, probably in the last year, and I've seen it, just as a meme around, is it pretty much says that people don't have to understand your dream, right? Because when God gave you the dream, it wasn't a conference call, it was a one on one conversation. And it simply just means this: it wasn't for you to understand, it isn't for you to process, it isn't for you, it's for the person that it was given to. And so we have to stop stifling our dreams. We have to stop stifling our vision because we are afraid of what somebody else is going to think about it. We're afraid of what other people are going to say, or if they're going to laugh, or however they're going to feel, because it's not for them. The gift is not theirs. It's for you. It's for you. So I'm skipping ahead a little bit. So in between, he continues to go back and forth, within himself. Do I say anything? Whatever. He's thinking that the dream giver would come back, but he doesn't. So he's now starting to doubt the dream. How many of us do that? We doubt maybe it's even for us. And so he decides to go to his parents' house, and the box, which is the TV. He decides to go to his parents' house and to watch TV, and discovers that the TV is broken. So now they're in the house and it's very quiet. And he decides to have a conversation with his dad. And so this is the conversation with his father. In the quietness, Ordinary started to think about the dream again. He looked over at his father sitting in his recliner, staring at the single page of Nobody News. Maybe he could help. "Father," said Ordinary, "I'm growing sadder by the day. I don't like my usual job anymore. In fact, I think I hate it." How many of y'all have been there? Father looked up. "That's terrible. What happened?" Before he could stop himself, Ordinary started talking about the dream giver and about his big dream. "I was made to be a somebody and achieve great things," he said. And then he told his father the name of his dream. As he spoke, his voice trembled. He was sure that his father would laugh and call him a fool. But his father didn't. "I'm not surprised to hear you say these things," he said. "You're not?" said Ordinary. "No," his father said. "You've had that dream ever since you were little. Don't you remember? You used to build that same dream with sticks and mud in front of this very house." Then Ordinary did remember. He'd always had his dream. It was what he'd always wanted to do and what he'd always thought he'd be good at doing. His eyes filled with tears. "Father," he said, "I think I was born to do this." How many of us forget our dreams? We get so sidetracked with thoughts of others, fear, so consumed with everyday life. You know, we ask little kids what they want to be when they grow up, and you will hear some of the most fantastical answers from small kids, right? Anything from what they see as heroes, police officers, doctors, firefighters, to superheroes, and all of these things. And we wonder where those uninhibited dreams go. They stay within us, right? But we change them with bills and responsibility and, all of these things. How amazing would it be if we could continue to dream and everyone lived in their dream and in their passion? You know, it it probably would have been a different narrative if his father had told him, you know, that sounds ridiculous, or I don't believe you. But for him to have said, I believe you. And sometimes I think that's what we're all looking for somebody to just say, I believe you. Even if they don't believe that you can achieve it, they believe that you have it and they believe that you should strive for it. Um, so many of us get sidetracked by others. And I think that this part of the discovery of his dream is about that. And this part right here is one of the most pivotal parts for me because he continues to have this conversation with his father. And this is where we will end for today. His father then tells him, a long time ago, I woke up to a dream too, his father said, and it came with a long white feather. It was a wonderful dream. I kept the feather on my windowsill while I waited for a chance to pursue it. I waited and waited, but it never seemed possible. One day, I noticed the feather had turned to dust. Of all the sad words Ordinary had ever heard, those were the saddest. Before he left that night, his father hugged him. Don't make the same mistake I did, son. You don't have to stay a nobody. You can be a dreamer. Sometimes we just need one person, right? His father recognized that he had allowed his dream, his own dream, to die. And not because anybody discouraged him, but waiting for the right time. What is the right time? Do we even know what that looks like? Will we know it if we saw it, right? So many of us put things off because we're waiting for the right time. We're waiting for the right moment. We're waiting for the right, circumstances to fall in line, to fall into place in some magical orbit of light to, beam down on us and tell us today's the day. All the stars have aligned and, this is the perfect moment when that is not it. That I don't know if that exists, right? And we allow for our dreams to die, not because we've been discouraged, but simply because we choose not to move. It's been given to us. Now's the time. Now's the perfect time, right? He said his dream feather turned to dust. You know how long a feather, if you imagine just a feather, has to be sitting and waiting before it dries up and turns to dust? You have waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and have chose to stand still. And bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, your dream is dying, right? Like when you have the option and the opportunity to live out loud with it, live out loud with it. So I think that that was such a great conversation for him to have with his father, right? Because his father understood all the feelings. His father understood how it felt to get the feather. His father understood. And to have him say, you don't have to do this. You can live your dream. You can be a dreamer. Don't make the same mistake I did. Don't let your dream die. Go after it. And so, Ordinary goes home. He's still reveling over all the things that his father said, and he decides to leave. He decides to leave um, his job, to leave the land of the usual, and go off on this journey to live his dream. So he goes and he quits his job, and he tells his best friend, I have this big dream that I told you about, and I've decided to pursue it. And his best friend, of course, is like, you're just going to become a dreamer, like this is what you're going to do, this is who you are. And so this is the part that we're actually going to end, is the actual end of the chapter. So he runs into the job, he telling his friend he's quitting his job, all of this. He says, my big dream is too important and too wonderful for me to miss out on. I've always wanted to do this. And so his best friend shook his head and said, so you're going to become a dreamer? I am a dreamer, answered Ordinary. Today, I'm going to tell my boss that I'm leaving my usual job. Tomorrow, I will begin my journey. Hey, best friend, Ordinary added eagerly, you can have my recliner and my box. And with that, Ordinary walked away humming a tune he'd never heard before. And I get so much inspiration. I love this book so much. I'm getting something new now, which is the reason for the pause. But to be able to say, I am just completely leaving this behind. It's so in tune with where I am in my life journey. Again, I recently just left a career that I've had for over 2 decades. How scary is that? And so many people asking me the same questions. Are you sure? Are you crazy? What are you going to do? How's that going to work? That doesn't sound like anything you should be doing. All of the things, and it explains all of these people later on. But when you have a dream and a passion, and that God is giving you something that you're supposed to be doing, it's still scary. It's still hard. It's still challenging. It's still all of the things. But it's such a nagging, beautiful, wonderful dream, like he said, and it's too beautiful to miss out on. So tomorrow we will find out what happens to Ordinary after he leaves his job. But, he dusted his shoes off. He was like, you can have my chair, you can have my TV. And don't we do that? I remember moving out of apartments, and I'm like, you could keep everything in it. I will start over new, right? But he's off to pursue his big dream. So I leave you with this. If you have a big dream, something that's nagging, and that it's been there, one, we learn from the Father, don't let it die in wait. There is no perfect time. The most perfect time is the day that God gives you the dream. God gives you the vision to walk in it, to pursue in it, and ask for directions. What should I do? How should I go about pursuing this dream that you have given me, that you have embedded in me? Ask for wisdom. Ask for, provision, so that you can pursue it and walk in this dream. And not be afraid of what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think about not only your dream, but your pursuit of it. It's not theirs. It belongs to you. And so does the journey. All right. So that is it. that is day 1 of the Dream Giver. I will meet you guys back here tomorrow as we continue to follow Ordinary on his journey. So I look forward to you guys going on this journey again with me with the Dream Giver. If you have not seen the book, if you have not gotten it, this is what it looks like. I'm sure that you can probably find it on Amazon. It's a wonderful read, wonderful story. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for day 2 of the Dream Giver. So until the next time, y'all know what to do. Be great on purpose. Bye, guys.